Hi everyone, welcome to LC State's Facebook Live event. My name is Suli Bruce Smith and I'm the Director of Admissions, and with me today is my colleague Kirsten Jepson, Director of Student Accounts. The purpose of tonight's Facebook Live is to help new students and families understand how to read their WarriorWeb statement. Before we get started, I just have a couple of friendly reminders. If you have any questions, please be sure to include them in the comments section. And please remember to not include your personal information like your student ID number or your social security number. If you have specific questions regarding your situation, you can contact our offices directly, and I'll be sure to put our contact information in the comments. With that, I will turn it to you, Kirsten.
Thank you, Suli. So today we are going to navigate the student account portion of WarriorWeb, explaining how your bill, what the information on your bill contains, as well as how to navigate to some other features within WarriorWeb that are very helpful for students to have from our perspective and some of the other offices. So we'll go ahead and get started. The first slide here is the main menu for WarriorWeb. It did recently go through a refresh. This is something that has been out there for a while, but now everything is going to this new look. So when you log into the main menu here, these are the normal icons most students will see. So you can actually go into any of these directly from the main menu. There's also another way to navigate, which is using the sidebar menu here. And so if you click the three bars, it expands open like this. And then you can expand open financial information, academics, your user options, daily work, etc., to be able to find options to navigate through WarriorWeb. So it's a good idea to get logged in, kind of poke around in there and familiarize yourself where things are located so that when you need to do something, you have a better idea of where to go. So on this next screen, we're going to go into the student account. So if you're selecting the student accounts from the main menu, and then once in the main menu, at the top of the screen, you're going to have the student accounts menu, and there's a drop-down box here. And these are the common items that you're going to be accessing through student accounts. Again, with the sidebar menu option, expanding that, opening up financial information, and then opening up student accounts, and then the same list is presented down below there as well. They'll both take you to the same place. It's just different ways to access that information. So the first screen that you're going to arrive at when you go into the student accounts module is this account summary screen. It is the default screen. So the information over here to the right-hand side explains what the amount overdue, the total amount due, and the total account balance are. And then the term balances are for any term that you have been enrolled at LC State, and it shows you what your balance is for that specific term. You can, from there, the links that are provided are making a payment. So if you're ready to pay, you can go ahead and go directly to that screen. If you want to see the account activity and the details, you can go to the account activity screen here. And then if you want to look at a specific term, you can select, if you had fall 2022 here as your primary one, then you could select that and it would take you directly into the fall account activity. We'll go to the next screen here, and this is the account activity screen, which is by term. So in this one, it is spring 2019. If you're looking at your most recent term, yours should say fall 2022. These here I refer to as category totals, bubbles, circles, whichever. You'll hear a lot of those references with determining who you're speaking with. So this gives you the sum of the charges for your account, the total of all financial aid that's posted, the total of any refunds that have been issued to you, and then your current balance. So from here, you can expand all, and that will show you the details, which we'll go into in another screen. So you can see that all of the charges that amount to those total charges. You can see your financial aid and each award and what that amounts to in your total, as well as any detail for refunds that you've received. From here, you can also view your statement, which we'll have that on another slide, but this is where you can access it. And then an important note on this is that your student account activity is live and can change frequently. So be sure to monitor your student account on WarriorWeb. We do not mail or email statements. We do email students when there are deadlines coming up with their student account and balances due. So if you're getting those emails, make sure you're checking to get your account in good standing. If you have questions, you're always welcome to reach out to us and we can assist you. Some of the other categories that aren't currently pictured in this example, if you have any payments, so if you paid any portion of your balance out of pocket, that would be its own circle up here. Sponsorships, if you have funding from a third party or athletic scholarships, those would show up under a sponsorship bubble. And then the rest of these are currently in this example. So we can go on to the next slide here. So this is when you click on that view statement link, this is the top section of the statement that will be produced. This is the official billing document for your student account. You can print it, you can save it as a PDF and share it with whomever you wish to. Some people that are getting funding from outside sources, a lot of times they'll ask for a statement. This is an official document that you can use for that once your schedule is set and your bill is complete. The top section does include our contact information here, and then the student's information, their ID number, and also their amount due and the due date. And again, this is not a real student. This is one that was just used for example purposes. And then the next section of the statement is the account activity summary. So it gives you a summary of your fees, so the total charges. This specific student did not have any financial aid posted. And then, so their fall balance was $36.03, and the total amount due is $36.03. This also does include your course schedule. So you can see your sections, the description of them, the number of credits that you are enrolled in, the days that those sections meet, the times, the location, and also the meeting dates. There is no breakdown on WarriorWeb for fees by section. So if that is something that you are needing or is required for some purpose, please just contact our office and we can get you that documentation.
Hey, Kirsten, could I interrupt for a second?
Sure.
If students are looking at their course schedule and they see that there's a class that they think that the wrong section has been registered for, what should they do?
They can either reach out to their advisor to inquire, or they could send an email to the registrar's office or call the registrar's office to see if the section that they're currently in is the correct section. If it's a scheduling conflict as far as date and time, going on WarriorWeb and finding the correct section and then making that swap, dropping the old one and adding the new one to your schedule. Just be leery to try to get those changes done earlier on, because once we start posting aid for the semester, that can cause delays in you getting your financial aid because of the enrollment confirmation requirements. So try to verify your schedule early and make any changes that you can before the semester begins, if possible.
Thank you.
And if you feel that you have any mistakes or errors on your billing, so if it's not what you expected or it just isn't making sense, just reach out to us. We're here to help and to explain everything to you. And if there really is an error, we want to fix it sooner rather than later. We try not to go on error or have those errors, but sometimes those things do occur. So just contact us if you're seeing something that doesn't look quite right. And then the next section of the statement does have a breakdown of your fees. So with this student, they were a full-time resident, so they're paying $34.98 for the semester. They have the Canvas technology fees, which are associated with primarily every section at this point. So this is the total for all of the enrolled sections. There was a math course fee for one of the math courses they're enrolled in, as well as a lab science course fee. So their total charges are $36.03 for the semester. And then this student did have financial aid. They are awarded and they've accepted it. However, they're currently ineligible. So that's why it's not being reflected in their balance. This would be an indication that they need to follow up either with the student accounts office or financial aid to find out what they need to do to get that financial aid dispersed to their student account. Other sections that you are, other categories of information you can see on your statement would be sponsorships if you have that funding on your student account, any payments that you've made, any refunds that have been issued to you, and then also the terms of any payment plans that are set up on your student account. So reminding you of due dates and the balances due. And again, just a reminder that your student account is live. So any activity on there can change frequently as you're making schedule changes or financial aid is being dispersed. So make sure you're checking it pretty frequently so you're certain that your balance is paid, or you are aware when there's money owing to you as in residual funds. And then on the next screen, we're going to go into making a payment. So in this screen, the information over here on the right-hand side gives you some pretty good steps to make sure that you are looking at everything correctly. The biggest thing is when you're first logging in, you want to make sure that this box is selected for any balances you're wanting to pay. It is possible to have more than one line item depending on the status of your student account, as well as if you have a payment plan set up, you will see a line for each installment that is due. Before a payment plan is set up, if you're wanting to make your down payment, you can change this amount to pay to whatever the amount you're trying to pay. If you don't change it, you're going to pay the full balance. So make sure that you're watching that and changing that to the amount you're actually intending to pay. And then in the drop-down box here at the top, choosing a payment method. The ACH e-check option is actually the one that does not incur additional processing fees. You just need to make sure you have your bank's 9-digit routing number and your checking account number. If you aren't sure what that is, reach out to your financial institution and they should be able to provide that to you. If the money is in a checking account, this is the least expensive way to get those payments made and not incur the processing fees with credit or debit cards. If the funds are not in a checking account and you're needing to use a credit card, there is really no way to avoid that processing fee. It's 2.5% and it's based on the payment amount. Once you get everything selected here, you want to proceed to your payment. And then once you do that, it's going to have a payment review screen just to confirm the amount you're intending to pay. So double check that and make sure the amount you want to pay is what is showing. And then if there are any processing fees, it will tell you that amount there. If you don't agree with something or there's an error, back up and go back to the screen. Do not proceed because it will process the payment. And then once you are ready to pay, just go to the Pay Now on the review screen and then just complete the information as requested. And once you're done, you will get an on-screen payment confirmation as well as an email in your else email. So another item for students to consider is if they do need to set up a payment plan for this semester. We do have an online payment plan request form, which is accessible in the student account menu on WarriorWeb. I've provided both options on how to access that link. The first one here is going through the main menu, selecting student accounts, and then selecting the student account menu at the top of the page and selecting payment plan request form. And then that sidebar menu, financial information, student accounts, and then payment plan request form. Again, this will take you to the same location, just different ways of accessing that link. And this is the screen that you'll see here when you open up the payment plan request form. It is confirming that your schedule is set, you aren't going to make any more schedule changes, and that you've accepted any financial aid you've been offered so that everything is ready to go for us to review your records. Once you are done, the information that it asks for is pretty self-explanatory. Make sure you're selecting the correct term as well as your preferred down payment option. And then you would submit it, and then you should receive this on-screen confirmation to let you know that it's been submitted. And then our office will respond to you via phone or email within 1 business day. And that would be if we're ready to give you the contract or if we have questions that we need to clarify before we can fill it out. So a couple of other things that are helpful for students is to complete their intent to attend. You've probably been getting emails reminding you to do this if you have not done so already. And what this does is it confirms that you do plan to really attend LC State, and it also confirms your enrollment level. Are you going to be a half-time student, a 3/4 time student, a full-time student? Because the financial aid office will use that response to confirm that you are packaged for the correct amount of financial aid. So it's important that you submit it so that we can make sure that your financial aid is packaged correctly and there aren't delays when it's time to start posting your aid, as well as if you do have residual funds coming for the semester, if you complete your intent to attend and are signed up for direct deposit before that cutoff for financial aid before the semester, then you would be eligible for direct deposit. Students who are signed up for direct deposit but do not complete their intent to attend will not get direct deposit before the semester. A paper check will be issued. So this is the best way to ensure that your funds are delivered to you the most efficient way possible and as quickly as possible. This is providing the access from the main menu, which is going under student planning, and then at the top of the screen, selecting student planning and intent to attend, as well as the sidebar option, which is expanding that under academics, student planning, and then intent to attend. The screens to complete this are very simple and self-explanatory. You should have no questions once you get in there. Sometimes it's just hard to find where to go. And then you will also get a confirmation email in your else email once you've submitted it to confirm that it went through. The other helpful tool is Person Proxy. And what that does is it allows the student to provide access to their protected information to someone other than the student. So, for example, a parent, a grandparent, a significant other, anybody that may need to assist them with their finances or academics. So this one is important things to know about proxies is that they do have to be reauthorized before each academic year. So you'll get a reminder email sent to your else email when it's time to do that. So if you have one that will be ongoing for multiple years, just reauthorize them and that information will be recertified. And then proxies will have their own online access to payment or to information only granted by the student. So this does currently exclude financial aid. So proxies that have financial aid access won't be able to see that online, but they can call the financial aid office and obtain that information from them directly. Proxies can contact LC offices to obtain only the information that the student grants them. And then proxy access can be removed or changed by the student 24/7 on WarriorWeb. So if it's after payments are due and the proxy has made a payment and you don't want them to have access anymore, you can take that away. Just make sure you reinstate it if you need that for a future semester. An important note pertaining to person proxies and student accounts is that if someone other than the student will be helping to pay tuition, the student should add them as a person proxy. We cannot provide anybody with information regarding your student account, activity, or the balance without them being a proxy with the appropriate access. So this does cause an issue for a lot of parents who are trying to pay tuition for their student when they don't know how much exactly to pay. So it's very helpful to make sure that you're getting this set up ahead of the semester so they can get access when they need that information. And then once you go into the proxy access, you just want to go down here to add another user. This information here is specific to the individual you're adding. The required information is listed here, and please note that the information here is not required. So a social security number is not required. That's something that people question a lot because they don't like providing that if they don't have to. So it is not required. You do not need to provide it to add somebody as a proxy. However, if you're willing to put a phone number in, that's really helpful because if we are working with a proxy on something, having their phone number in our system is very helpful for us. And then the last part of adding a proxy is determining what information you want them to have access to. So you can either click here and say allow complete access. They would have access to anything that's available to them. Or you can say allow select access and then manually pick the items that you would like this individual to have access to. Once you've decided what they have access to, you just want to review your disclosure agreement, click the authorization box here and submit. And then you can repeat this process to add more than one proxy if necessary. So you can have more than one and they can have different access. And then another important piece is for students who are expecting direct or residual funds with financial aid, or if they're expecting a refund for paying and then dropping a class. If they're signed up for direct deposit on WarriorWeb, we can get those funds to them a lot quicker. And so this is the way to access putting your banking information in on WarriorWeb. This is new this semester, so students who previously have set this up, the place to access that information has changed. However, information that was currently in the system will still be in the system. Make sure that you are using the correct 9-digit routing number and your checking account number. Incorrect information will result in delays in receiving your residual funds. And if you're not sure, contact your financial institution so you can ask them for the information needed to sign up for direct deposit.
Kirsten, should they just go ahead and do that even if they're not necessarily expecting any funds?
It's helpful to do that. It is stored securely. Most staff do not have access to that information. Only a very select group is for audit purposes. So It's secure, and in the event that there is anything due, even a course fee refund, which happens pretty frequently as schedule changes are made, being able to get those funds to students quickly is preferred to have direct deposit. So yes. So you can access your banking information right here from the main menu, or if you want to use the sidebar menu, it's under financial information and then banking information. So you do not need to drill into student accounts. This is outside by itself. And once you are in there, you just say add an account. And then the next screen will look like this. You just click the toggle to activate it. It's best to leave the effective date for the day that populates, which is the current date. If you put a future date in there, then it may not be intentional and you wouldn't be eligible for direct deposit until that date has occurred. And so then you're going to select the next button. And then these are the two screens. It's one big box. So this and then this. So you can add an account nickname if it's something like you want to call it your joint checking with your parents, or you want to call it your savings account, because you can have it in either. You can put a nickname. That's not required. It's just for your purpose. The 9-digit routing number for the bank. So make sure that it's accurate and double check it for accuracy before you proceed. And then your bank account number, including any leading zeros if it's provided by your financial institution. You'll want to enter that twice. So you're going to enter it first and then re-enter it there to confirm that those values match. And then you're going to select the account type, either checking or savings. Make sure that this is accurate because it will cause issues with payments getting deposited. Then you can review the terms and conditions, agree to those, and submit. Once you're done, you'll come back to this banking information page and you'll see your record right here. Don't worry that it says not verified. This is just a process we run internally to update those records. So it's done at least weekly. If not, it would be done before the next disbursement date for residual funds to make sure you're brought into it. And then once this is done, you'll also get a confirmation email in your else email, and this is what it says. So when you receive this email, it's because you made a change, either adding information, deleting information, or changing your account. You'll get this email. And that is all that I have.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Kirsten.
Yeah.
So it doesn't look like we have any questions yet. So I want to take a moment to just go over a few important dates that are coming up.
Mm-hmm.
We have 2 orientation programs. We have one on Wednesday, August 10th. That is typically an orientation program for adult learners and transfer students. That is an evening program. And then our big orientation is on Friday, August 19th. You can access the agendas, all of the information orientation related on the website. August 22nd is the first day of classes. And then the last day to pay your tuition and fees without late fees is Friday, August 26th. Kirsten, if students don't make that deadline, how much is the late fee?
So we actually give students a little bit of grace period after that, just because things come up and we understand that. So we actually do not assess the late fee for about 5 days, but it is $100 because normally we are assessing it right after that fee payment deadline and then another one a week later. So we're giving students the benefit of the doubt to get things in order and use that time to come in and talk with us and get things finalized to prevent that late fee. So we don't offer a lot of exceptions to that because of how flexible we're being. So if you want to avoid the late fee, please come in and see us and take it seriously when we're reaching out to you, because it does need to be taken care of.
Mm-hmm. So things that you can do right now to get ready, because school is starting in just a few short weeks, is do your intent to attend that Kirsten mentioned. You have received at least a couple emails in your LC Mail account. Check your LC Mail account on a regular basis, because if student accounts or financial aid, those tend to be the 2 offices that are trying to communicate with students the most right now, they will be communicating with you that way. It wouldn't also hurt to just confirm that your school schedule looks correct. And as Kirsten mentioned, if there are any issues, now would be the time to take care of it before you pay your full bill, or before residual funds and refunds are distributed. And then again, just make sure you've got all the orientation stuff on your calendar. And one other important date I forgot to mention is on Wednesday, August 17th. If you plan on living on campus, that is Residence Hall move-in day, and you should receive some communication about that from Residence Life. Kirsten, can you think of anything else I may have forgotten? Those quick little to-dos. Purchase textbooks, that's another one.
Yep.
And you can access your textbook information on WarriorWeb if you look at your class schedule.
Yep. Like we discussed earlier, sign up for direct deposit now so you don't forget to do it later. Even if you don't think you're going to get money right away, it's helpful to have that in there in case there is something that needs to be processed for you. The intent to attend deadline, so submissions can be completed through August 10th. So if you do not make that deadline, it is not going to keep you from getting your financial aid potentially, but you will not be eligible for direct deposit that week before the semester starts. So be prepared for that if that's the case. You're free to reach out to us at any point if you have questions along the way, and we can help explain to you what it would mean if you did or didn't do something.
And if there's anything that either of our offices can help you with, whether it's just making sure that everything is good to go, because that is very much the type of planner that I am, and I know Kirsten is too, we would be happy to just go through a checklist with you, just so that you can feel good before you step foot on campus for orientation and those first day of classes. So with that, it doesn't look like we have any questions. Thank you all for your time. We very much look forward to having you on campus in a few short weeks. It's hard to believe that classes are going to start in less than a month, and enjoy the rest of summer. And thank you, Kirsten, for your time. I appreciate it very much.
Definitely. If it's helping the students, I'm here.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, guys.